Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Martin. Today I'm going to be giving you a speech highlighting the negativities of social media and how it isolates us and convincing you to maybe consider spending a little bit less time on your phone and more time in social interactions with real people. So, imagine spending hours every day on TikTok. I'm sure a lot of you guys do the same as I do, where we scroll through endless videos, laughing at trends, feeling entertained, sometimes crying, seeing sad videos, and honestly, on the extreme end of it, you can see war, you can see hardship, you see what other countries go through. This range of human emotions is not normal, and eventually, when we stop scrolling, we realize that we don't even remember what we saw 10 scrolls ago, and especially not what we saw when we first opened our phones. It feels like we had just lost this time. Social media is designed to bridge the gaps and bring us closer, but it often ends up making us feel a lot more isolated. Today, I want to discuss how social media platforms, especially TikTok, can increase feelings of loneliness and isolation, particularly among the Generation Z. Studies consistently show that as our online presence grows, our real-world connections diminish, and that's something that we need to address. I've researched this topic using credible sources, including reports from Harvard Medicine, CNN, and Newsweek. The evidence points to a disturbing reality. Despite being more connected than ever, many of us feel way more alone. First, we'll explore how social media fosters superficial interactions rather than deep connections. Next, we'll discuss how it disrupts our real-life social skills. Finally, we'll look at how it negatively impacts our mental health, promoting harmful comparisons and feelings of inadequacy. One prominent trend that many of you have probably seen on social media is the "what about me" trend. This trend highlights a shift where users center ourselves even in unrelated content. Sarah Lockwood, a TikTok creator, coined this "what about me" effect, describing how it combines individualistic culture with being chronically online. For those that don't know, this creator on the left side, for you, the right side, the left side, made a TikTok video with a recipe for a soup for specifically anemic people, which means they need more iron in their diet. And so the soup consisted of majority of beans. And then in the comments, there was many people saying, well, I don't like beans. What can I substitute it for? I don't want to eat this. I don't like beans. And instead of being happy for the girls that could use this recipe and that are anemic and acknowledging the struggles of that, they say, well, what about me? Just don't eat the soup. This behavior reduces genuine connections, and people are way more focused on inserting themselves into the narrative rather than truly engaging with other people. Now, some may argue that social media does help connect people in meaningful ways. For instance, Morgan Rachel, a mom from Louisiana, discovered that her daughter Lydia had a rare genetic condition called Sanfilippo syndrome after seeing a similar case on TikTok. Her mother sent her a video of a child who looked like Lydia, leading Morgan to push for a diagnosis that the doctors had previously missed. Thanks to the TikTok video, Lydia was diagnosed early, giving her a fighting chance to seek treatment. Stories like these show that social media can foster real support networks and bring crucial help. However, while these instances are extremely inspiring, they are the exception rather than the rule, unfortunately. For every positive outcome, countless users are left feeling inadequate or lonely as they scroll through seemingly perfect lives and endless trends. Social media doesn't just create shallow connections, it also disrupts our ability to meaningfully interact in person. Nicholas Christakis from Yale University explains that social networks amplify whatever they are seeded with, whether positive or negative. Furthermore, Joseph Davis from UVA highlights how self-diagnosis communities on TikTok can foster a false sense of connection while isolating individuals from real support networks. I'm sure we've all seen how maybe you didn't even know of a condition previously, and now it is all over TikTok, and whether that is great to get the word out there and make people more aware of the syndrome or the disability or the mental issue, it can cause people to check off the checklist and self-diagnose themselves, which leads to a lot of stress, misdiagnosis, and as I said, isolation from resources from the people that actually have these issues, diagnosed by medical professionals. And then also things like TikTok can help create a lot of mistrust in medical professionals, as I said. Think about it. Spending hours online instead of talking face to face can make social interactions feel awkward and unnatural. I know so many people and so many friends that they go to class, they go to their room, they go to work, they go back home, and maybe a 30-second interaction that didn't matter to the other person at all, they go home and they're so hyper aware of how they acted, what they said, how they looked, when in reality, it was just a 30-second interaction that slipped the mind of the other person. But everyone is so self-aware and so deprecating to themselves in the interactions that they went through that they harp on these things and become more socially anxious. We lose our connection skills, our essential communication skills, and our relationships suffer as a result. The most concerning aspect is the negative impact of mental health. A MetLife report found that 30% of Gen Z respondents reported feeling isolated, significantly higher than other generations. Even more alarming, Gen Z has been labeled as the loneliest generation, with another report labeling 80% of feeling loneliness in the past year. Dr. Jean Twenge, a psychologist specializing in the mental health of young people, notes that the more time a teen spends on social media, the more likely they are to experience depression. Despite the illusion of connection, spending excessive time on social media often leaves us feeling inadequate and disconnected. And this is not even to mention the influencers that we see living the picture-perfect lives, not knowing what struggles they might be experiencing behind the scenes. But we're not told these things, we just see perfection. As we compare ourselves to carefully online created personas, only negativity follows. So, to wrap it up, today we've discussed how TikTok and social media can make people feel more isolated. Hopefully you can see this loneliness graph. TikTok and social media can make people feel more isolated through superficial interactions, disruption of real life, social skills, and negative mental health impacts. Social media platforms promise connection but often deliver loneliness. While it is unrealistic to abandon them completely, and they are helpful in many cases, being mindful of our usage and prioritizing real-life interactions can make a significant difference and improvement in your mental health and mood on the day-to-day basis. Next time you reach for your phone to scroll through TikTok, Instagram, or any other social media platform, take a moment to consider how it might be affecting your well-being. Real meaningful connections go beyond the screen, and we need to seek them out. Let's strive to build better relationships that truly matter. Thank you.